Today is Thursday, March 19th, on man's time of 8:43 Eastern Standard Time, p.m. I accept p.m. as past morning, a.m. is after morning, or maybe it's not. We call things a lot of things, but in this time of peril, there's always little gifts. So if people is not, looking for the little gifts and they get hung up on meanings and definitions that get interruptedly wrong. Could be some Latin word. Anyway, the gifts. The gifts. This is a time when you need to get to know your community because you haven't known your community. I'm gonna repeat. This is a time to get to know your community because you haven't known the community. Now, in apartment complexes without grounds, it's a little bit different. There is a way, but for those who have land, even on rental properties or such, and then ways for if you are on rental property for sustenance, because that's what's still going to be needed. You have to get to know your neighbors in a way of agriculturally utilizing said resources. In the field or the lawn, each neighbor could interact by entering a growing crop. Each neighbor can have a different crop. You have a couple of neighbors that's growing the same crop. It's no competition. It's just availability. Green beans, black eyed peas, tomatoes, kale, cabbage, carrots, grapes, apples, bananas. Is it even possible? We was told it wasn't, but we don't have any really local agriculturalists, neighboring. Then you got, people who help other people. They'd be the landscapers. Right, so the job is the same, but it's different in the trade. Because you in an aid, I'm helping you help. But I got my little thing going on, but I'm also helping y'all. So, and at the end of the day, it's just what you need because it should be enough. If you eat, see, they say, here's a gift. See, this brings it back to the over unity, right? You have one apple with multiple seeds. So even though you eat this one apple, you can yield multiple trees, or even just one. One is enough to have more than one apple. So that's an over unity. That's an over unity in itself. So perpetual energy is already in existence. It's just a man's construct just to try to deny God existence by just letting people already know it's here. It's an abundantness. When you get captured in fear, you stop realizing there is a gift in the midst of this trouble. And in the midst of the trouble, you can get to know your neighbors. You can get stuff grown. Even in apartments, things can be grown indoors. Things can be grown indoors. What about power? Gas, electricity, solar. How to make electricity? How dependent? How dependent are we on electricity? So you guys see, if this is a game, the game is just to just try to prepare, not to get afraid, but to be aware that it's a lot of things that we are utilizing, and if they are forcing us to get more time, then in our time we should utilize a way to create a foundation of sustaining, and as a group we can have sustenance to sustain and have an over unity that actually can maybe help other people outside, other community or the neighborhood. But we got to make sure the neighborhood utilizes these things. Maybe it become normalized. 2020 vision. See, the whole thing is maybe your vision ain't seen. Maybe you can't see. Maybe you refuse to see. We got accustomed to packaging and productivity of other people through manufacturing, but at the same time, we got away from the simpleness of planting a seed and having it grow and sustain and protecting it from little miscreants that may interrupt its lifespan for their sustenance. So you got to protect your crops, but you also need those things. Can't get rid of them. You just need to relocate them to where they can actually be utilized, and they'll be happy, and they'll play a part of the ecosystem and your ecosystem without having to really get rid of these things, because you don't want to cross contaminate yourself by pesticiding the crops that you're growing because you're trying to get rid of. Get to know your neighbor. Buy seeds. Have neighbor conversations. I'm about to make flyers. I'm about to hand it out to my neighbors. Not that I'm fear mongering, but I'm just saying, better time than the present. There's no better time than the present, just to say, you know what, look, we all got yards out here. You know what I mean? And maybe, this time we can just start growing stuff here. Like, we get to know our neighbors. And we don't be on no funny stuff. We be on some real unity stuff. And we don't have time for trouble in close proximities. This is not TV. This is real life. The drama they present to you on the TV distracts you from the realization that you don't know who your neighbor is, or if the neighbor can even grow a crop, or if y'all can work in harmony together to sustain life when y'all are working next to the other people too. So bang bang, shoot 'em up. Coronavirus or any movie that told you that they're gonna do this or this was coming and break. The television right now is beginning to be an all-time high fear place. Right? It's fear. It's the propagation of fear. All of it's just to sell fear. Some things can be, depending on how the utilization of the mind that is receiving said transmissions and how it's interpolated, right? Because sometimes it's curses and sometimes it's blessings, and they're all wrapped in the same package. It's just up to the person to define what are they receiving, and then they'll grow off of that seed they planted. Because every thought is a seed, so we gotta stop planting our seeds, right? And maybe people say I'm not a people person, or you got da da da. Look, man, you're gonna need the next person. You're gonna have to get these. You have yards, you have rooms, there's spaces that is abandoned that can be just revitalized. You ain't gotta add. If you can do it, get to your people. The land is void right now. Why not do it? Whose is this? Can we get permission? Why not? Let us have access to this unused land right now, because at this time period, we're already at full production. This is still in our neighborhood. It's just sitting there. It's not being utilized properly in the function that we're going to need it, because we can't get bread off the shelves right now. We can't get toilet paper. We can't get none of that. I mean, they still having reshipments for now, but in the long run, if they want to continue to play, I want to have precautionary steps for each and one of our neighbors, so that way we're not in fear. There's no need to be in fear. If we are lackluster, we can learn now. And if we have to go through the trial during the process, at least we started it now. Her neighbor. Separation. Chaos. It's created and it's held in the mix. And I was told that this was actually based on a bet. It's based on a bet. How you gonna get to know your neighbors if you don't get to know yourself? Do we have time to get to know yourself? Is it self-evident? Water. It's just like for the kids that's not in school, this is also another gift because now at home they're learning agricultural things, right? Because that's what life is bound by, agriculture. The car you drive in is attached to agriculture. Every aspect of whatever you do is attached to agriculture. So maybe they'll learn about a plant. They'll learn about how a plant grows. For real. Participate in the function of protecting it, utilizing the fruit or the product, what it produces, and replenishing it from the gifts that is given, because it is a perpetual object. It should be, if it is of goodness. If it is of goodness of itself, it should be able to reproduce itself as long as you cater to it to let it bloom. And it has multiple replications of itself. Enough to get two or three, which will create dozens. Then you have the all alluring. If you don't have, you're not gonna go into the all realms of it, because you like male plant, female plant, germination, seeding. Average people going to have to know how to do recycling. You're gonna have to get in the mindset of what they getting forced into. See, if you bought all these toilet papers and all this paper towels and these paper products, and you throw it in the trash can, and there's no replacement for the product that you consume, it in itself is a seedless product if it's not refurbishable. If in utilization it becomes unrefurbishable, then it is seedless. A lot of things got reproduction. Fans, because it works over a certain period of time of expectancy through current. Then you got the food that you eat, which is always respectable because it's needed. So that's what the primary focus should be. And then once that focus is accomplished, See, that's the problem. You can't stop any other focus at that time period. Everything has to be rotoscoped in because you still want to have welding. You still want to have all the things that you have become accustomed to and the technologies that make it easier to fabricate and grow. Fabrication got to grow. This is an inventor's field right here. And if you're not an inventor and you're just a consumer, don't be a consumer. This is not the time to be a consumer. This is the time to be a developer. This is the time to be a programmer. This is the time to have some insight on production and agriculture. An apartment can grow. You can grow the kitchen, living room, bedroom, as long as light can get to it. You just need light. But what if the skies get dark? See, the what ifs leads you to other precautionary things. It shouldn't be scare tactics. It's only a device of ingenuity, adaptation, and increasing the standards. It doesn't matter if you're in a $1 million house or if you're in the crackhead house down the street on the block corner, you know what I'm saying? And you just snuck in there. The thing is, utilize occupational growth, seed base, and replication. Anything of its utilization should A, make it easier for replication, or B, replicate through usage. When the animals eat the fruit in the woods, in the wilderness, they'll run around somewhere else and they'll use the bathroom somewhere else. And along comes out the seed that doesn't get processed during consumption through what? Evolution? No, it was created that way that an animal could eat it and then go somewhere else and grow it. We were created to be innovators of the creation, to be thankful that we even able to manipulate surfaces that we are in contact with on a daily basis that eventually we interact with differently because our idea or concept of said material is reconceived of its potential, of its possibility, of what it can absolutely do on all facets that a wood could be a temporary battery and reusable as long as it's absorbable, as long as it can continue to absorb, it continues to be reused, as long as the anode and the cathode is still in good repair, it can be reused. But it also can make a sofa set. You can also build a house. Wood has multiple uses. One product comes from many trees. You got birch, you got pine, you got cedar. It's many different types of trees, but many uses, many applications. Plastics only came from innovation of utilizing material that's already present, not from mysterious material that's not in the elements that we are constructed from or of. We create combinations of material that may be rejectable by our digestive system because we are not that. When you bind two different and then claim that you created something new, but all you did was connect one or two of existing manipulating material, which is already here for us to play with, which we were granted permission to play with. Life is a gift. And if you don't realize how oblivious we are to our existence in this world, which we have the audacity to call the earth, but in this world, we are so connected, the disconnect is huge. That's how connected we are. The disconnect is huge. Why do we own large yards and produce no fruit, no vegetable that produces seed that can, after consumption, produce more? Why is it that we just cut the grass and discard of it? Does the grass have a greater purpose, and are we smart for having a lot of grass, but are we dumb for discarding the grass? Most people cut it and put it back in the grass. Let it biodegrade, become soil. Others clip the grass, bag it, trash the grass. Some do keep the grass, utilize it in different facets, and don't really. But then some retain it, and it goes bad because it was never utilized for its reason. So we have a lot of things that we occupy, and we don't really utilize it for its reason, and it may go sour for a while. And maybe it's refurbishable, because metal oxidizes. You can get rid of the oxidation, but in the same time, you lose material. If you lose too much material through oxidation, then the piece could be scrapped or reutilized in a different fashion where it is still applicable to another job, because you can't afford to discard it, because you learn how to recycle and add it into what you need and how you need to operate. Now, cleanliness is next to godliness is another thing that I see. Wash your hands, wash your hands. But the whole thing is, in general, now is the time, if you do believe in God, and if it is in there, or if it's not in there, if it is believed that cleanliness is next to godliness, then you have to implement that without having the fear, but just having the will to be more godly. So washing your hands, all this extra that you gotta keep telling everybody repetitively. Repetitively. Well, I'm gonna just change it. And now you hear it first before you see it. You know where it came from. Cleanliness is next to godliness campaign. Why create a campaign? You campaign so that way you can reverse whatever is being campaigned. And what's being campaigned is just to wash your hands, just wash your hands, and wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Why? Because you don't want to get these germs. As long as you feel clean. And if you want to increase your cleanliness to get closer to your godliness, then do such on that turn. Not on some fear of contracting something because you are. But then in that process, you can't judge, yet be judged. So you can't turn into a judge because you feel like you are high and mighty on your cleanliness and you need to tell everybody else how to get themselves. Wherever they are, let them be. They'll see your fruits, and if they desire that, they will being increased, or they will ask a question in regards to how to accommodate their life like yours. How is it that is? Where do you find the time? Because I don't have time. I'm too busy. Someone may say I'm a busy guy, but I'm a busy girl, but I like to have things decent and orderly. But I gotta do this and I gotta do that and I gotta do this and I gotta do that. So I'm jumping. They have to construct it. But in that process, it's more than just wash your hands. It's cleanliness. That's next to godliness. But also the process of learning how to clean. So those people out there right now that's in the process of cleaning up, it's good if you have the right mindset, because you already been exposed to whatever's in your house that you're getting rid of. And you may re-expose yourself in the process of getting rid of and testing once again your immune system. What should help it get up to par, because a lot of y'all might have mold somewhere, spider web somewhere, you may have dust somewhere. No telling what that dust is and where it settled from. You gotta remove it. Go through that process. You may put on your dust mask and all these different things to avoid ingestion, but its remnants aided your immune system. Now in this process, you still have to get some exposure. You can't be overly, right? Is there such thing as too clean? It is if you live in a contaminated world. It is if you live in a contaminated world. So it's two things that happens, right? It gets rid of. If you emanate as clean as you assume in your mind, it wouldn't even be in the rude conduct. It would just be part of your godliness. Because you wouldn't ask nobody to pay you to wipe the shelf down that you might have just touched and realized and said, hey, look, maybe they haven't done it. And since I'm on this aisle and I have the time, I'll clean it. And then in that process of cleaning it, you expose yourself to whatever was there in the process of getting rid of it. And in that process, the interchange of getting rid of it and sanitizing it and having interaction at the same time creates the immune system's capabilities, because you're interacting with it at the same time of removing it. Dual combination of contamination. Because for those people who don't think that cleaners can't be contaminants, they are. Can be too clean. There's a balance. You can be too dirty. There is a balance. Too much bleach. And if you think you're being smart and you add ammonia to it, it's not a combination of utilization. It's not. For the aspect of this does a great job and this does a great job, but these two together to do an even better job. And it does. But to no prevail. So, protect your community. Protect your household. Protect your mind. Guard your words. The worst enemy is sometimes the reflection that you see because you don't like. Sometimes you're too vain to understand that there is a problem. There is a balance. We indeed are sent here to be helpers of helpers. And I am right now looking for aid of other people who want to be helpers of helpers. Because once the help stops, that's when it's defined as a true catastrophe. It's not a catastrophe until people stop actually helping. So I'm a helper of a helper. You heard? And if you ain't a helper of a helper, I don't know what to tell you. We gonna start that campaign too. Enlightened illumination. You rock? You agree? You a helper of a helper? Look, propagate that. They preach separation, you preach togetherness. I'm a helper of a helper. That means it just can't be me locked in a box by myself. I need to find somebody else I can help. Because if I need some help, I would like to have another person because I might not be able to have four hands. You're not here for yourself. You can't get locked away with a limited association of individuals to an extent. Wealth is in the ability to continue having sustenance that is needed for employment of any activity. Without said sustenance, employment of activities are nigh. So, in this technological age, will we understand that the fruit of the loom takes a lot of work and may hurt your groin? You heard? Put that work in, man. Buy them seeds. Stockpiling for me. Look, when I'm not gonna ask you if you got some seeds, man, you gotta let me know. You got them Jones. You gotta release them Jones. Cause I'm the one who told you start stockpiling seeds, man. And you gotta make sure your neighbors eat. I'm your neighbor. You know what I mean? I ain't walking in taking my sweater off, none of that, untying my shoes and stuff. But as your neighbor, telling you get these seeds, cause I might need some. Somebody else may need some, but you know your boy done told you to get it, so you gotta look out for your boy who put you on in the first place that got you. So you can't forget that. See, that's always incredible. So when if one of your people who help you out come to your neighborhood should show him love and offerings. Oh, I got eggplant. Oh, I got strawberries. Oh, I got this. Oh, your neighborhood is wonderful. Y'all can should come to my neighborhood one day. But it's not about taking from each other. It's about the willingness to give. Because I just want to give it to you because oh, you alive? You talking? This is amazing right now. Bro, I got some food in the bag. You welcome to have an apple or two. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is my neighbor John. He got some bananas and stuff. Yo, you want a banana, bro? I got a banana for you, man. Here you go. You can have that junk. Oh, yeah. Oh, what's up? That's Rob. Oh, it's Rob. Rob over here growing pears and stuff. Been growing a tree for like 5 years and stuff. That's how long time can go into. But then people will be like, yo, you want a pear, bro? These are fresh. Like, you know what I'm saying? You ain't never had a pear from over here. Basic, fundamental things we take advantage of, things we take for granted, things we don't conceive of, and then we waste property that we are yielded, that we do not take action upon to concede. Look, life is abundant. It is abundant. Utilization of abundancy turned to famine because it was wasted and neglected of its true abundancy. So the practice is not enabled. So they're inhibited to rely on other people's production because forgetfulness and gratefulness is out the window because comfortability is set at I'll go here and I'll retrieve there. in exchange for this, for exchange of that, of whatever that is giving you your proceeds to get your produce. Based off of the things they say that you are able to produce. Now, if you are in this production lot and you have some finances, and if you are not able to mitigate the finances to get said seeds, and you do as you are informed to talk to your neighbors, and then you inform them that, hey, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to participate, all I need to do is be able to get these seeds. Can you help fund me for these seeds? These seeds are at this price, at this time period, and I need to get these seeds so we can both grow. And I'm going to do my job over here. And I got you when these start growing, because we gotta grow. And I know you're gonna want these, and it's a lot of work, and I can take this share work. However you word it, there's no excuse. There's dirt outside. I don't care if it's concrete. I got grass growing through the rock I just put down. I put a lot of rock down. The grass is growing through the rock. It doesn't matter. Try. You have to attempt. You have to utilize whatever resources you have. If you can't get fresh dirt, get some dirt. Utilize the resources around you that are not being employed for premium need, right? Right now, aesthetics is okay. Aesthetics is great, but it's better suited to use things that are used as aesthetics that could be used as production products, so you can produce the things you need to consume and reproduce. And you'll get your gravel, you'll get your salts, you'll get your leaves or whatever. You'll have a byproduct of growth that is regrowable. So in the season, once the season is ended, you can harvest and then reproduce or regrow, depending on how bad it's just mutilized. Some things have a season and some things don't. But the truth is how much of what you need. You overgrow your usage because you have a neighbor that has something of your need. You have multiple other people. If you don't know the bartering system, it's time to get back to not just a bartering system. I have it. You need some. If you can help me, we can grow more, and we can just always have food. And the food that you have, you can bring to this station. This person is staying here, and give the food away. What kind of credit you need is just you live in this neighborhood and you have 5 kids, whatever. It doesn't matter, because we are going to grow, we're going to sustain, we're going to regrow, we're going to utilize our property wisely, and we're going to, if the stores are still open, we'll still buy from the stores, but we'll still circulate our own crop and then become less reliant on store-bought products to a degree, out of necessity, to have a full understanding that fear isn't a placement of what we need to get on. Productivity and creation. See, the closer you'll get to the dirt, the closer you'll get to a cure. You get back in touch with nature. Nature's going to get back in touch with you and give you all the elements you need to protect yourself from any said ailment. But you have to get back to the dirt. You have to touch the soil. You have to get grounded. We are ungrounded. We've been wearing sneakers and shoes, and now we are separated. You need to get reconnected to the earth and separate yourself from the world for a little bit and get connected with the earth. And then you understand that everything that you have ever came in contact with, even televisions, have came from the jungle of nothingness but vegetation. And everything that is being utilized of your imagination, said lights that illuminate at nighttime, come from where we are. There is no outside place that we can go to get these materials to craft such things that you are all of, that you are so distracted from the fact that the earth is the thing that birthed every design, every idea, every conceivable notion, even propulsion through space, breaking time barriers to receive entrance in another time zone of another solar system. Flat Earth is getting out of control too. There's a control for them people too. Separation, communication, utilization of our communications right now is superseding our utilization of common sense. And common sense is really not in common except if you are in common of the fear place. So now fear rules among men, controlling the mindset of made men. Is this going to go all the way through? Forget about the carrier. Forget about the disease. Think about the intent. As a neighborhood, can you operate without money? As a neighborhood, can you survive without money? Are the people in your neighborhood willing to put forth an effort to enable? Because once you have the government declaring safety and security, especially security, everything is safe, everything is secure. You will be secured. And if you don't understand what secure means, if I am due a debt, a payment, I will go secure my payment. Because secure is to obtain, to hold, to obtain and hold. Secure, to protect, is not really what secure is. Secure is to hold, contain. There may be a boundary of protection that is inevitable through occupation because there is a container for containment, which creates a barrier. So said barrier should have some form of protection. But remember that secure is a barrier. It is a hold. So when things are secure or getting secure, they are getting contained. They are being in a hold, which is basically being bound. So be aware when things are safely bound, because you may be safely bound. Or there are safe boundaries, and outside those boundaries, you are not safe. Not due to anything other than man's preconceptions of what needs to be and how so. I don't do a lot of talking. May not even get a lot of shares on this, but at the same time, it's too many topics to not even cover. You got electricity. Store up on all the frozen goods, and then you have no power. Spoil. Community sure need an electrician. And people to know how electricity works. Water comes from the sky. You need it on your crops, but you can't go without water if the water supply is no longer valuable. And if it is still given and it's not drinkable, how do you filter it? Do you need refrigerant for a refrigerator to refrigerate? Is a refrigerant needed? Are there devices that out there that could create what you're seeking? It does get cold, it does freeze. Without heat, gas, how do you create fire? Do the neighbor know how to create fire? Will you assist the neighbor in learning how to create fire so that way they also will be able to stay warm in the wintertime? Run out of lighter fluid. How do you start a fire? You don't have any matches. How do you start a fire? It's too hot outside. We don't have any refrigerant. How do you cool down? Shelters are built already. Many people may seek to reoccupy, preoccupied, or currently occupied facilities. How to navigate through that peacefully without harm being done in creating more producers that can create more products that can actually be a benefit versus a hindrance. Y'all tread carefully how they use your minds as a playing ground during these times. News. I don't even think there is an apostrophe in it. I think it's WS without an apostrophe. I think it's news. NEWS. No apostrophe. So it's not new apostrophe S. Just take the K off because the knowledge is not involved. So it seems like it's presently unobtained information. New. Alright, that's enough of me. Running on in my rambling. Appreciate you. Listen to it. State of the Union, lockdown. State of the people, it's up to you. The state of the people is up to you. It's up to the people. The union is between these representatives of the people. That doesn't always representate the individuals of the communities that reside as the people. So, as the people, we have to define ourselves as individuals that help reproduce with other individuals that create a new Congress, a Congress of helper, of a helper who is, in fact, also a helper or a helper who helps other helpers that help other helpers, so on and so forth. Is it important? Is it a need? That's up to the discussion of individuals that group together to have conversation. That's when it will become apparent that another person ripping another person's hair out is not on the top of the to-do list today. But going out there with Josie and learn how to plant things that grow rosy. Just because you don't eat a rose doesn't mean you shouldn't grow a rose. Because we need rose growers. We need every species of vegetation that is in our witness of abiding the law of living in existence to exist and to operate as such. So we will need people to grow roses, even though we do not consume them, because you may be able to protect your food with roses. And those bushes gated and keep an influence over, though it is beautiful, ye shall not enter. Those are the protection. Things of those natures create borders and boundaries and can also create more of yourself. So this is a lesson for you all today, a gift, I do declare it. For those who do not know, the State of the Union is locked down. The state of the people is yet to be defined. You choose the future.